Have you ever felt it? That invisible hand pulling you back, just as you're about to break through. It's a force coming from your hidden self, and could be shaping almost every decision you make. Today, we'll expose this force inside you that sabotages success, love, health, even happiness, and why ignoring it guarantees you'll repeat the same painful patterns forever. You'll learn the true meaning behind self-sabotage, how to spot your hidden patterns, and the first steps to reclaim your full power. If you want to stop fighting yourself, it starts here. Let's begin. The shadow self explained. The final mystery is oneself. When one has weighed the sun in the balance and measured the steps of the moon and mapped out the seven heavens star by star, there still remains oneself. Who can calculate the orbit of his own soul? Oscar Wilde. Throughout history, the shadow has toppled kings and queens, ruined geniuses, and derailed destinies. One of the brightest minds of the 19th century, Oscar Wilde, showed the world exactly what happens when the shadow is left to run unchecked. His plays packed theatres, his novels scandalized and enthralled readers. He was loved, respected, and adored. At the pinnacle of his career, surrounded by admirers and celebrated for his brilliance, Wilde didn't just stumble into disaster. He pursued it with the same determination that had built his success. And then, deliberately, methodically, he destroyed it all. Let's take a step back. The shadow self isn't merely a psychological abstraction. It's the architect of our most bewildering behaviors. This isn't the simplistic dark side of popular psychology, but rather a complex, autonomous system within your psyche that operates with its own intelligence and purpose. The shadow forms through what Jung called individuation, the necessary but painful process wherein a child develops a socially acceptable personality by fragmenting the authentic self. Those fragments deemed unsuitable, whether rage, ambition, sexuality, or vulnerability, don't vanish, but coalesce into a coherent counter-personality structured specifically around what you've rejected. In childhood, Wilde learned to wield charm, wit, and brilliance as armor. But vulnerability, fear, and anger, those stayed hidden in the dark. And over time, they grew stronger, not weaker. Just like Wilde, we all develop a persona, a public mask, but behind it, the shadow waits. Its power lies in its invisibility. While you're consciously pursuing success, the shadow orchestrates its systematic unraveling through mechanisms designed to remain undetected. This isn't random self-destruction, but precise psychological counter-programming. When these disowned aspects remain unacknowledged, they emerge in distorted ways, through sabotage, destructive patterns, and emotional chaos. The shadow speaks in three languages. 1. Projection. We see in others what we refuse to see in ourselves. That person whose arrogance infuriates you. They're mirroring qualities you've disowned. 2. Emotional triggers. Our overreactions reveal buried wounds. When your response seems wildly disproportionate to the situation, your shadow is screaming for attention. 3. Self-defeating patterns, life repeating until we finally wake up. The same relationship problems, the same career obstacles, the same behaviors playing on repeat. Your shadow is trying to teach you something you've refused to learn. Ancient wisdom traditions have long recognized this dynamic. The Taoists spoke of balancing opposing forces within. Buddhist teachings emphasize that what we resist persists. Indigenous shamanic practices involve retrieving lost soul fragments, another way of describing shadow integration. Modern neuroscience confirms what these traditions intuited. The unconscious mind processes information much faster than conscious awareness and makes decisions before we're even aware of them. What we call self-sabotage often reflects unconscious programming operating beneath our awareness. Programs installed in childhood that no longer serve our adult lives. Left unseen, the shadow eventually forces confrontation, not to punish you, but to free you. Identifying your shadow patterns. From the moment we're born, the world hands us a script. What to value, what to fear, what parts of ourselves are acceptable, and what must be hidden. Without even realizing it, we build identities out of borrowed fragments, shaping our lives around the expectations, fears, and projections of others. This is where the shadow begins. And just like Wilde, who dazzled crowds while struggling privately with parts of himself he could not fully own, each of us carries hidden patterns, unseen forces that direct our choices until we make them conscious. Let's explore the 5 major shadow patterns and how they may already be shaping your life. First, the perfectionist shadow. Fear of inadequacy. Projects never finished and dreams deferred. Another version of this is ignoring critical areas that require our attention to focus on perfecting something else, like Wilde, polishing his words to brilliance, while letting his private life implode. This pattern manifests in countless ways. The dissertation, forever unfinished. The business almost launched. The creative project perpetually in progress. The perfectionist shadow believes it's keeping you safe from criticism, rejection, and shame, yet it ensures you never experience the very success and fulfillment you consciously desire. Its protection becomes your prison. Second, the people-pleaser shadow. Born from conditional love, constantly performing for acceptance. Wilde often played to the gallery, dazzling for approval while masking deeper wounds. This pattern creates the bewildering cycle of giving until you're empty, then suddenly withdrawing or exploding, damaging the very relationships you were trying to preserve. The people-pleaser shadow believes that if you ever prioritize your own needs, you'll be abandoned. Its constant self-sacrifice is actually fear masquerading as virtue. Third, the controller shadow, born from early chaos, trying to master every variable. Yet Wilde, too, couldn't control the growing storm around him once it broke. Notice how this pattern manifests. The micromanaging that drives away colleagues, the relationship jealousy that fulfills its own prophecy, the rigid routines that leave no space for spontaneous joy. The controller shadow believes unpredictability equals danger. It's still fighting to create the safety you didn't have as a child. Fourth, the victim shadow. Helplessness rooted in early pain. Wilde's later writings drip with bitterness towards society, but much of his tragedy was self-chosen. This pattern reveals itself through language. This always happens to me. Everyone takes advantage of me. Nothing ever works out. The victim shadow believes claiming your power would mean acknowledging painful choices and responsibilities. It preserves innocence at the cost of agency. Fifth, the saboteur shadow. Fear of success. Wilde had everything: fame, fortune, love, yet moved steadily towards self-destruction, as if success itself were unbearable. This pattern operates most powerfully right at the threshold of significant breakthrough. It's the sudden relationship conflict before deeper commitment, the health routine abandoned just as results appear, the self-destructive behavior that follows a career achievement. The saboteur believes success will either destroy you or require you to become someone you're not. Most people don't have just one shadow pattern, but a constellation of them, emerging in different contexts. The perfectionist might dominate your work life, while the people-pleaser controls your relationships. The victim might emerge around family, while the saboteur activates around financial opportunity. These patterns don't operate randomly. They interact, reinforce, and cage you until awareness sets you free. Which pattern echoes most loudly in your life? Reprogramming your operating system. Experience is merely the name men gave to their mistakes. Oscar Wilde. The shadows that sabotage you are fueled by core beliefs, often formed before you could even speak. Wilde believed, consciously or not, that love was conditional, that success was dangerous, that exposure was inevitable. So he raced toward his own undoing before anyone else could tear him down. Every shadow pattern is rooted in core beliefs that formed early in life. These beliefs operate like software running in the background of your consciousness, filtering your experiences and automatically generating thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The perfectionist shadow grows from beliefs like, I'm only worthy when I'm flawless, or mistakes mean I'm fundamentally inadequate. The people pleaser develops from, my needs don't matter, or I must earn love through service. The controller emerges from, the world is dangerous if I don't control it. The victim crystallizes around, I'm powerless, or life happens to me, not through me. What silent beliefs are scripting your life? Ask yourself, what would have to be true for my sabotaging behavior to make sense? What am I assuming about success, love, safety? What hidden fears am I protecting by holding back? What did I learn about success, worthiness, or safety in my childhood? Identifying these root beliefs is crucial because they form the foundation of your manifestation operating system, the unconscious framework determining what you allow yourself to create and receive. Once identified, these beliefs can be released through several powerful techniques. Emotional freedom technique, EFT, or tapping, combines acupressure points with verbal acknowledgement of limiting beliefs, creating both energetic and cognitive release. Begin by tapping specific meridian points while stating your limiting belief, even though I believe I don't deserve success. Then shift to affirming new possibilities. I'm choosing to open to receiving my good. Visualization practices can reprogram neural pathways by creating vivid mental experiences of new behaviors and outcomes. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between imagined and real experiences, so consistent visualization literally rewires your neural architecture. Spend 10 to 15 minutes daily visualizing yourself succeeding without self-sabotage, feeling the emotions of fulfillment and noting how you navigate challenges differently. Somatic techniques acknowledge that beliefs aren't just mental, they're stored in the body itself. Notice where you feel tension, contraction, or discomfort when confronting success opportunities. Breathe into these areas, allowing the sensations to release as you affirm your worthiness and capacity. Without this shift, no amount of positive thinking will save you. Your shadow will always win, because it's fighting for your survival, according to outdated maps. Quantum creating, beyond self-sabotage. A dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world. Oscar Wilde. As shadow integration progresses, a remarkable shift occurs. What once required conscious effort becomes natural flow. You enter the realm of quantum creating, manifesting from wholeness rather than fragmentation. In quantum physics, particles exist in multiple potential states simultaneously until observed. Similarly, your life exists in multiple potential versions until your consciousness collapses the wave function into specific experiences. Your vibrational frequency, the dominant energy you emanate, determines which potential realities you observe and experience. Shadow work raises your vibrational frequency by releasing the dense energies of fear, shame, and limitation. As these energies dissolve, higher frequencies naturally emerge. Authenticity, creativity, compassion, and joy. These frequencies attract corresponding experiences without forced manifesting techniques. The most powerful manifestation occurs not through affirming what you want, but through embodying the energy of already having it. This is what spiritual traditions mean by stepping into your future self now. Try this practice. Identify a goal currently blocked by self-sabotage. Instead of focusing on achieving it, ask, who would I be if I had already integrated the shadow patterns blocking this goal? How would I move through the world? What would my daily energy feel like? Then begin living as that version of yourself today, not as pretense, but as recognition of a potential already within you. This isn't fake it till you make it, but rather be it to see it. The quantum field responds not to what you want, but to who you are being. As you embody this future self, you'll notice increased synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem orchestrated by a benevolent universe. These aren't random, but evidence of alignment between your conscious desires and unconscious programming. The universe isn't separate from you, but an extension of your consciousness, reflecting back your integrated state. Trust becomes essential in this process. Most self-sabotage stems from trying to control outcomes and timing based on fear. Quantum creating requires surrendering to universal timing and flow, understanding that delay isn't denial, but preparation for greater alignment. What seems like obstacle often serves as redirection toward more fitting opportunities. Embracing your wholeness. The final mystery is oneself. When one has weighed the sun in the balance and measured the steps of the moon, the final secret is oneself. Oscar Wilde wrote those words from the wreckage of his life, imprisoned and faced with the consequences of ignoring his shadow. His story reminds us, brilliance alone isn't enough. Talent isn't enough. Even love isn't enough if the shadow remains unacknowledged. The journey of shadow integration isn't about eliminating parts of yourself, but embracing your complete humanity. When we recognize that the shadow formed as protection, not punishment, we can approach it with compassion rather than shame. As your shadow integration deepens, you'll notice several shifts. Emotional triggers lose their power. Energy becomes more abundant. Relationships gain authenticity, and compassion for yourself and others naturally expands. Your self-sabotaging patterns aren't evidence of failure or weakness. They're messages from parts of yourself longing to be recognized and integrated. They're trying to lead you home to wholeness. Through shadow work, you stop fighting yourself. You reclaim the disowned courage, creativity, sensitivity, passion, everything that was once deemed too much. The journey won't be linear, it won't be tidy, but it will be real. And ultimately, it will be liberating. Reflection questions to guide you now. Which shadow pattern has shaped your life the most? What core belief is finally ready to be released? What unlived life inside you is asking, begging to be embraced? Oscar Wilde's tragedy was that he only confronted his shadow too late. You have the chance to do it now. With compassion, with courage, and with conscious choice. The final mystery is yourself, and this time, you get to solve it in the light, on your path to a better life.